Illuminating instrumentals like I flipped the switch. Goddamn, the kid ain't playing. Ball so hard and you niggas, you want a man. Leaning Mac, about to win a cool grain. I'm the man with the plan, got the world in my hands. I'm steady switching lanes, me and Peso G. Leaving stains in the streets with a few young freaks. Fuck a minute, I've been killing this shit for weeks. Geek with Jessica Rabbit, trying to give it a D. I ain't never been afraid to speak my mind. Wear my heart on my sleeve, spit some deep ass rhymes. But today I'm just smiling, styling, profiling. Eyes same color as Verizon. Fresh to death, a new idea from the casket. Dogging these niggas who acting hard, but they flaccid. Arrogant bastard. Nah, baby, that's the damn Leonardo to these niggas. Come and catch me if you can. See, I'm riding through the city, rolling a couple Phillies of that sticky icky with Icky Vicky, having a quickie, but really nobody feel me. Rappers running like Ricky, I'm so fresh and so clean. So with the bull, you can miss me, crispy. Kid shining the booth, trying to bite my style, might get a chip in your tooth. But
welcome everybody to the sit down. We got a special guest, Dennis Tedisco. Dennis, what's going on, man?
True. What's up, bro? Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man, I'm thrilled to have you on. I mean, I got a ton to talk to you about. You know, I kind of want to introduce you to the audience because you've done some really dope things and seen all kinds of different angles of the industry, sneakers and streetwear, skate, the whole nine, and from a really social perspective, which I think is really cool, and I thought the audience would enjoy hearing you on. Why don't you kind of give everybody like a little quick, just, you know, download on where you've been and what you're doing, and we'll go from there.
Sure. Where do I start? Let's see. I guess I could go all the way back. If you want to go back to my first job ever, when I was 12, I was flipping pizzas. You know, I'm from Boston originally, Italian American, you know.
Boston, oh my goodness.
Hate the Yankees.
Oh, we'll get to that.
That's why I'm surprised you had me on, you know?
No, I love having people on that like shitty sports teams.
Just messing with you. Yeah, started when I was 12. You know, my family always wanted me to understand the value of money, and you know, I started thinking about things based on how many hours I needed to work instead of, you know, anything else. Like, not just give me $50 if I want to buy that video game, or I want to, you know, it's gonna take me 6 hours now instead of, you know, just jumping right into it. So started there, kind of worked my way up through the pizza world. No, I'm just kidding. Did that from like 12 to 14, 15, then got into, actually on the retail side, Men's Warehouse, believe it or not. I used to sell suits in high school, college. And then by the time I was 18, you know, during that time, like my whole life really, I've been into sneakers, been into clothes, you know, whether it was seeing Ken Griffey Jr. wear his hat backwards, being like 9 years old and being like, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen. Or, you know, Will Smith on the Fresh Prince with fives on and no laces, like being inspired by that my whole life. I was like, damn, that's so dope. Or like even LL Cool J with like FUBU. Like there was so many moments that, you know, inspired me and really brought me into, you know, sneakers and loving fashion and clothing and really the culture. And yeah, when I was like 18, 19, I was really into this brand called LRG, which everyone knows about now. But at that time, it was pretty hard to get. And there was really only a couple places in the world where you could buy that. If you weren't like in a skate shop in LA, or, you know, a low key like DJ spot like Turntable Lab sold it, Digital Gravel sold it. It was really hard to get. The store No Stress in Vegas sold it. This is a long time ago. And I discovered this one site, came across it one day, Karmaloop.com, and I ordered from there, and then it showed up at my place the next day, and I was like, how did this ship from LA that quick? And I looked at the return address and it said Boston, and I was like, wow, that's crazy. How is this store based in Boston? So did some research. It was a small company, found out they had this rep program, signed up for it, joined the rep program, started making money with it. You guys are probably all familiar with that. You get a promo code, you give it out to your friends. Then in exchange, they get 20% off if they're a new customer, 10% off if they're returning. You get commission, 5% cash, 7.5% as a gift code. As a broke college kid, I was like, you know, I was already making the decision between, do I want to buy books or do I want to buy the next release?
Yeah.
And I could probably Google all the questions anyway, you know, but
so you were successful. So you started with like being a rep for Karmaloop. and turn that into a full-time job, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I started doing that, and then I was getting like $100, $200, $300 a month. And then Karmaloop was featured on the cover of Small Business Week. And Greg, the owner, called me up and he was like, yo, you should come in and intern. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. What do I wear? A suit? Like at the time I was working at Men's Warehouse, and he was like, no, we have mice running through the office. You wear whatever you want. I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. So I went in, started interning, got, proved my worth, got hired, eventually took over the whole rep program. At that time, Karmaloop was a very small company. It was like a dozen employees, only doing a couple mil in sales. And then over the years, I had, an incredible opportunity and an amazing group of people that I worked with, and was able to hire a lot of my friends and worked my way up, and eventually became marketing director over a period of like 5 years until 2012. And it was a crazy time. We were working on a TV network with Pharrell as our creative director. We had the former president of Lionsgate, and we didn't end up getting that. We didn't end up getting that TV station. Diddy actually ended up getting it with Revolt. And yeah, and things went different, and I kind of reached a point where, like, I needed to, I was there for 5 years. It was time to do the next thing. So I started reaching out to my contacts. My original plan was, hey, let me start a consulting company, because I've helped a lot of brands over the years. I've probably worked with like 500 brands over these 5 years. And I've helped take brands from like kids in their garage screen printing tees to now they're legit multi-million-dollar brands. And this was also during a time when streetwear was at its infancy and started to explode, and it was insane. So first person I called up was Nick Diamond, and I was like, yo, Nick, I'm trying to do this consulting thing. Nick was a good friend of mine over the years, and he was like, yo, let me fly you out to LA this weekend. Let's talk about it. And he was basically like, I want you to consult for me, but I don't want you to consult for anyone else. Let me offer you a full-time job. And I was like, all right, that's crazy. Let's make it happen. So
before we get to Diamond Supply.
Yeah.
So before we get to Diamond Supply, Karmaloop's fallen on some tough times recently.
Yeah, definitely.
So do you kind of, do you look at it like, damn, like that's, that's a shame? Or do you look at it like, I'm out, and then they went, phew?
Look, I don't wish bad on anyone. I had a lot of good friends that worked there.
Right.
I had some people that I even.
But there's got to be something, Dennis. There's got to be something that's kind of like a little bit ego driven. That's like, you know what? I killed it there, and now I'm gone, and they struggled. Not saying that you wish that on them, but there's got to be something that makes you feel a little bit good. Maybe no.
No. I don't have any ill will towards those guys. Like, honestly, like, we may have not seen eye to eye on everything.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, like, I had a lot of friends who were there, people that I convinced, like, yo, you should move from Vegas to Boston.
Right.
Come from LA. Like, I had a friend, my boy Shelton, who I hired. I convinced him to come down from Toronto. Like, I left my boy Billy from New York, Frank the Butcher. Like, I had Chetta, I had a Jay from Undefeated who was over there. Like, I had an amazing crew of people, and like, I didn't want to leave them in a situation, and I don't wish, I wanted Karmaloop to be successful, like, to be completely transparent. Like, I had ownership in that company, and it was small, but I had some stock in that, and I wanted to see Karmaloop do well, and unfortunately it didn't.
That's fair enough. So how you had said you had a relationship with Nikki. I was doing a little research.
Yeah.
And how did that come about? Because I think that's an interesting story. Yeah.
So I originally met Nick on the Hypebeast forums. So the Hypebeast forums back in the day were crazy. Like, it's so funny because everyone that's on that now is basically like doing something in the industry. So you had, Lupe Fiasco posting on there. You had Tyler, the creator, doing outfit battles, like literal, like, my fit battle against my boy Phil Anand of Madberry Club, who's killing it now, who actually was, worked with him through projects at Nike. Like, he's doing fantastic for himself. Like, the Hypebeast forums were a crazy place. And yeah, I met Nick on there, and it was actually over a t-shirt that we started bonding. Like, Nick was like, damn, I missed out on this Iron Maiden tee. I'm a size large. And I'm like, how do you not have one? You made the shirt. I was like, yo, I'll send you mine. I'll literally ship you mine. And he was like, really, dude? That's crazy. I'm like, yeah, like, it's one of my favorite shirts, but you designed it. So I feel like you're more entitled to it than I am. So thanks for keeping the culture alive. And sent him that shirt. And I think he sent me a big care package in return, which was pretty tight. So we became boys from that point forward. And then whenever I would go to LA, like, we would kick it, and we would, grab in and out or whatever, hit the club or,
The art of building relationships, I think, is kind of lost a little bit in this new era of I guess the internet and social media, maybe.
totally.
But relationships used to be, and the foundation of how business went down.
Yeah.
It's not so much like that anymore. So that's a cool story. So you started working full time for Nikki and Diamond Supply.
Yeah, started working full time with Nick, and I was living in Boston at the time. Like, they wanted me to move out, but I had my family there. I'm a Boston guy through and through, and it wasn't the right time for me to move in my life. So I didn't make that jump at the time. But, I would fly out to LA like every month, and I was there for like 2 years, and it went really well. I mean, Nick's killing it. He drives a Tiffany blue Ferrari 458 Italia. So, like, I mean, amongst other toys, like, he's doing very well for himself.
Oh, my God.
Diamond's doing great. That brand's awesome. And, like, I think, a big reason of that is because Nick's a really smart guy, and, like, he knows his audience, and whether or not you love Diamond or you think it's whatever, it's killing it. And Nick knows his audience, and that's his core audience is skate, and he has that on lock. And Diamond has the best skate team in the world.
So what did you do for them? Did you run their social team?
Yeah.
Or the digital?
Yeah, ran all of the digital marketing.
All the digital marketing for them. So you took them up big time.
Yeah. At the time, like, Diamond barely had, like, Nick was killing it on Instagram, but, like, Facebook especially, like, no presence. I took that up another notch, I'd like to think. And I think when I left, we were at 1 million followers on Facebook. So it was basically 0 to 1 million in a short amount of time.
And then from there, Nike.
Yeah, well, actually, there was a little break in between. I ended up during this time, because I was, things were going well for me with Diamond, and my plan was originally to consult, as I mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
I was comfortable, and I was doing well, and, like, it was fun, but at the same time, like, I needed to kind of challenge myself a little bit more. And I was like, I needed to take a step back, and I did. And I was like, look, I'm going to take a step back and go back to my original plan of consulting for multiple brands.
Mm-hmm.
And during that time, I had a bunch of brands that I was working with. I did some stuff with Toyota. I did some stuff with Illissimo, the coffee brand. I actually did a couple projects, random one-offs with Nike, completely unrelated to me getting hired, just with other teams on Nike. And, and a couple smaller brands, I was consulting and managing their social and consulting designs. And it was cool. And I did that for about 6 months. And then my boy Sky from Team Epiphany, I don't know if you know Sky, but real solid dude. He linked me up with the guys at Nike, and he was like, look, there's this amazing opportunity at Nike. You should definitely check it out. And at the time, to be completely honest, like, it wasn't even something I was imagining. Like, it's Nike, right? Like, that's right. Like, it's like this, it's like, wow, that's crazy. Like, yeah, I would always want to work for Nike. That's an amazing opportunity. And Nike's like the best brand in the world. If,
Nike.
It's Nike. It's
right.
Yeah, there's nothing better. So, but things were, at the same time, things were going well for me. And, like, I wasn't really trying to necessarily move to Portland. because that's kind of like literally as far as I could be from Boston as possible. But it was a once in a lifetime opportunity. And the person I was working for, who is actually a really good friend and mentor of mine, Musa, who is the senior director of community at Nike at the time. He's now at Apple right now. He was my boss. So he was a big reason why I joined that team, because, you know, I looked up to him, and he was somebody I knew of from even before. Like when I was at Karmaloop, when I used to take meetings with Twitter, they would say, yo, check out what Musa's doing in London at Burberry. You know, he's doing these amazing, innovative programs, and he was somebody that inspired me a lot. And honestly, the whole team at Nike is incredible. It's an amazing company to work for, and I have nothing but praise to sing about them.
One of the knocks I've heard, I know a bunch of people that have worked there over the years too.
Yeah.
One of the knocks that I've heard about Nike is that they're very rigid. And if you're a creative and outside the box type person, if you're somebody that likes to kind of spread their wings and do their own thing, the structure of the organization makes that difficult.
It's Nike. You know, like,
yeah,
I'm sure you could say the same thing about Apple. You have to have rigorous standards in order to achieve excellence. I don't think you could have a brand that's loose or that's, do whatever you want type mentality without getting those kinds of results, you know? And yes, Nike is super matrixed because it's a huge company, and everyone has specialized roles. You know, it's probably one of the more matrix-based organizations you'll come across, but that's also why it's amazing. Like, so much work goes into everything. Like, every detail is obsessed, and that's why they're on top. Right.
So what do you do for them?
So I was global community lead of Nike Sportswear.
Oh, wow. So what were you responsible for in that role?
So basically quarterbacking the digital offense for Nike Sportswear in a global perspective. So I had 6 geos that dotted lined into me, and basically, like, we would have, a new campaign would come out, and for example, like, global brand marketing would set a strategy like, hey, this season we're talking about sneaker boots. Like, what are you doing on digital to run point on that? And I would come up with that strategy, and then I would dictate that to the rest of the globe. They would pitch back their plans, et cetera, et cetera. So I was basically overseeing that.
Did you do influencer outreach?
Yeah, we did some of that. That happened a little bit. You know what? That really happens more at a geo level than global. Like, okay. North America would do that, but I did some. We did some of that though. But there's so many. Like I was saying at Nike, there's so many different specialized groups. Like, you have like entertainment marketing, you have PR, you have like everyone. Like, that's somebody's job. Like, I could do that. That was something that I had the opportunity to do every once in a while if I wanted to, but it wasn't something that like I needed to do.
So who do you consider influential in the sneaker realm?
That's a good question. Who do I think is influential in the sneaker realm? Man, that's a very good question. I'll have to get back to you on that one. I can't. Yeah.
Let me throw a couple at you. Maybe if I throw a couple at you.
Sure.
So, how about Khaled?
DJ Khaled is a genius.
A genius.
He's a genius.
Do you think he's influential though in sneakers? Can I tell you?
Like, if he wears something, I'm gonna be like, I want to wear that.
I tell you? I think he's the corniest guy in sneakers.
I think he's incredible. I think DJ Khaled is everything. That dude is brilliant. He's 40 years old and he's completely reinvented himself. Every record he makes is a hit. He's amazing. Like, yes, things he does are ridiculous, and that's why he's awesome. Like, come on, man, the skits that he does, they're incredible. They're so good.
I think he's super talented musically.
Yeah.
I think, like, from a like his presence on social and his presence in sneakers to me is wild trash. Like, I think he's the corniest. Like, where you think he's everything, I think he is super corny.
Yeah, but you have to look past that. You have to look at it like entertainment, like DJ. Like if I want to be entertained, I'll watch a DJ Khaled interview. I'll check out, like I'll listen to. I tweeted the other day him doing a McDonald's commercial because it's amazing. It's incredible, dude. He's talking about. He said, "Give praise to the microwave." Because I'm buying 4 McMuffins. Like, dude, that's amazing. That's gold right there.
I'll give you that he's entertaining. I'll give you that he's. You love to love him. Like, I love to kind of hate him. I guess maybe that's
sure.
Let me give you another one.
But
Do you
either
think
way, you feel a way about him, and you're talking about him.
No question.
He's a genius. He's a
Do you think
marketer.
the Kardashians are influential in sneakers?
They're influential in whatever they want to be influential in. Their following is so ridiculous that they could literally do anything and it's a news story. It doesn't matter.
Right.
It literally doesn't matter. Like Kim Kardashian, what did she do? Like some diet pills, and she didn't adhere to like the FDA's like laws on it because it wasn't FDA approved. So they made her pull it down or whatever. Like, dude, she has the FDA. Like the level of broadcast and the level of reach is insane. It's
right.
Yeah.
We had this conversation on the social networks the other day about them because she posted the picture of Yeezys. Courtney did.
Yes.
Who I think is the hottest one, by the way. I think Courtney's the hottest one. But anyways, so she posted the picture of Yeezys. Everybody went crazy about it, and people had Complex had put them as one of the top 25 influencers in sneakers.
Yeah.
I said, see, this is why they're influential.
Yeah.
And, that conversation jumped off, and the point that I made and others made, LaPuma made it also. Yeah. My mom, who's 62 years old, smoking weed, sitting in the house, asked me for Yeezy Boosts to get her to plug on Yeezy Boost because Courtney wore them.
Yeah, exactly.
Or Chris Kim wore them or whatever,
100%. Yeah, they're influential on that level. Like it depends how you're defining influence. If you want to say influential to us, to me, like if Kim wears a shoe, is that going to make me want to buy it? It might have the opposite effect. But when you consider a global audience, it's incredible. It's incredible. It's like sending a commercial to like 1 in 3 people's cell phones.
So
in the world.
Let's move on to what you're doing now. But I want you to think about some non-celebrities, some people out there that you're familiar with that you think are influential. We're going to come back to it in a minute.
Sure. Yeah.
So you did the Nike thing, and you did what many people would consider sacrilege in leaving what is the dream job for millions of people.
Yeah, it was straight up.
And you dipped.
Yeah, I left.
Okay, so what was I don't know how much you want to talk about it, but what were your reasonings behind that? What was it, and where'd you go? What'd you do, and where you're at now?
It was just about the opportunity. That was literally it. Nike is a dream company to work for, and there's no doubt about that. And it was a tough decision, but yeah, I'm at Twitter now. I'm with a company called Niche. Niche was acquired by Twitter almost a year ago at this point. And basically what Niche does is works with creators, or as we call them, influencers. And a lot of them are on Vine, on Snapchat, on Instagram, and not just like what we know within our circle of sneaker influencers, way beyond that. Like I'm talking, people that have 5-10 million followers on Vine, people that have, 1 million on Instagram, like creators that are creating amazing content, have super engaged audiences, and are also extremely creative. And right now what I'm doing over there is I'm the head of community for Niche. So I moved to San Francisco, and I'm overseeing all the creators that we get on Niche. And right now we have almost 20,000 creators. When I joined, I think we had 12. So, yeah.
So you live in San Fran. How dope is the food out there?
Fire.
It's incredible.
But
Listen,
from Portland, which is also a big foodie town.
I've never been to Portland. I've been to San Francisco. I live in New York.
Yeah.
And I've said it to anyone who would listen that outside of New York City, San Francisco is the best food in the world.
Yeah, I would agree with that. The food is incredible.
So what is your goals? What are you doing with Niche, and how is that going to play in the social world now?
Yeah, so Niche has already been making big moves, and it's maybe a little bit below the radar. I don't know. Have you seen that Hewlett-Packard commercial with all the Vine celebrities? And basically, they're like opening that close. Well, that was the first commercial with Vine on TV, and that was all Niche. So Niche is working with all kinds of Fortune 500 companies: Coca-Cola, Pepsi, BMW, Range Rover, like Mercedes, all these amazing companies. And pretty much brands come to us, or they'll come to Twitter and they'll say, hey, we're interested in running this campaign. And Niche is basically sourcing creators for that. The creators are creating the content, and they're getting paid for it. So the creators make money, and then the brands on their end, they're getting content that is super engaging, super authentic to that audience, and everyone wins.
What do you consider a creator?
Creator is somebody who creates content with the intent of mass distribution.
Okay. So you're not looking for you're not looking for somebody who's creative reaching 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 people.
No, there's value in that. And it depends. There's so many different creators out there, and I can't just say like, okay, cool. If you have 1 million followers, you're valuable. Or if you only have 10,000, you're not. Because there's creators that might be like, yes, I fit this specific demographic. Like maybe it's like, hey, we're looking, like a company might come to us and say, hey, we're looking for creators in Brazil who do stop motion, who are on Snapchat. And then it's like, boom, that filter is like pretty narrow at that point. And then it's like, yeah, the top 3 creators in that might only have, 50,000, 10,000, who knows how many. So I think it's, Niche, that's the name of it. It's kind of super true, right?
It's kind of surreal to think about. It's kind of surreal to think about how over the last, not even 10 years, 5 years, the world has changed so much based on the evolution of the social platforms and the networks.
Totally.
That's one of the things we end up talking about a lot here is almost more than sneakers, we talk about the social experiment, and I think that sneakers is kind of the poster child for, the explosion of social.
Totally. Absolutely.
What do you think, like looking at being a streetwear guy, Diamond Supply, sneakers, like having those, what do you think, give me the good, the bad, and the ugly of 2015 as we're in November already, so we could do that. So give me the good, the bad, the ugly, like what do you like, what don't you like, what do you think is just a complete disaster?
Like in terms of releases?
Everything, just anything, like things that you've seen, like things that people like. I'm seeing the Supreme shoe in your background there, like dudes dipping Supreme in paint.
Yeah.
Like just thinking, like
that was cool.
Like thinking about the ridiculous things that people do on social media for attention, and just thinking about the industry and sneakers and all those things. Like what do you like about it? What don't you like? Because you see it from a different perspective than somebody like me does.
I like genuineness, and I like people who do things because they like to do them. I think there's a lot of, like, to your point, I think like someone, and I'm not calling this guy out because I actually think his store is dope and like his whole business model. I was just watching a YouTube video, but like sometimes people are doing things like the dipping of the paint of shoes. Like sometimes people are doing things for attention and maybe not necessarily because they love something.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that's the case with him. I'm making that up as an example, but I would say like authenticity is like the big thing that I do like people who are posting photos of things that they like, knowing that, hey, this might not get a ton of likes, or, you know, this pair of shoes, like this is a dope shoe that I personally love that might not get, you know, that's not going to have the craziest hype ever. Like, you know, that happens all the time. Like, or doesn't happen all the time. It's kind of rare to see, you know, I think, you know, Corgi was on here talking about like trends and how, you know, he sees people, you know, he can basically predict that thing. And like, yeah, you know, your feed is going to be all Supreme Jordan 5s towards release day or the week after, week prior, whatever the case may be. But yeah, like if you really, like, I love Jordan 5s. Like that was one of the shoes that I genuinely fell in love with. Like I love the acronym Air Force One. Like I posted that. I said that was the best collaboration of 2015. I believe that. I love that shoe. I think the story behind it is super dope. And yeah, I think like authenticity, man. I have to say, like, people who do things because they love them and like don't really care about other people's opinions, that's awesome. You know, we need more of that. We need more originality, more people who aren't afraid of like posting what's cool and posting like what is true to them.
Do you think you can see authenticity and genuine passion and love for something in a creator's work? Yeah. As you evaluate like, can you tell like this person is buying it, and are you more likely to work with someone or reach out to someone for your platform if you feel that they're
100%. I mean, you can tell when someone genuinely loves something and when someone's just doing something to do it, right? I don't know. It's this X factor that you can't quantify. It's really like it's a feeling. And if you love something and you're passionate about it, that speaks more than, you know, someone going through the motions or someone just, you know, posting the post or doing this or doing that. And I think like passion is a huge thing.
I've noticed that. It's funny you say that because, you know, I've been talking about that a little bit on here the last couple of weeks, and I've noticed that with a lot of the creators that I follow in the sneaker segment and that lifestyle world, where I've noticed the content going from passionate and original and genuine to being forced.
Yeah.
Maybe in some cases because they're monetizing and you put content out because you get a check for it. And you can see the difference. And I've noticed that, and I've spoke on it. I've been kind of vilified for it because maybe it's, you know, people don't want to hear that, but I think you hit on it a little bit as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something cool about Niche. Like, we don't believe in canned content. Like, you're not going to see someone like, just like, yo, like, here's a wallet, you know, and like just posting it. Like, we want authentic content. We want content that's true to the creator, that's true to their audience, that feels right, that feels organic, and that doesn't feel forced. And like, that's why we're often picking creators who, you know, like if somebody loves cars, if someone loves photography, then hey, they're perfect for this Land Rover campaign. We're not going to stick somebody in that like wouldn't be hyped about it or wouldn't love this. So that's, I couldn't agree more, you know?
So on that, let's come back to who do you think is genuine? Who do you think is original? Who do you think is creating dope content and is influential that may not be a celebrity, that we may not, you know, may not be a household name, or maybe?
Yeah, it's such a tough question, man. Honestly, like, does it have to do with sneakers or just anywhere?
No, just, I guess anybody. I mean, my audience is more of a sneaker related audience. It's not all sneakers. You know, I brought you on because you're not only sneakers, and I thought that was an interesting kind of left turn to take a little bit, because to be honest, some of the sneaker only demographic that I have to pick from, you know, they don't always have a lot to say.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, so I wanted somebody that was a little bit more diverse, that could talk about some different things. And that was why I thought you were a perfect fit to head in that direction.
Yeah, honestly, man, there's so many people. I could name a lot. I mean, I would say like outside of, the sneaker industry is kind of funny in terms of like influencers, right? Like it's, is that a quote?
That was a quote from the live chat.
It's kind of funny. It is kind of funny, man. Like, honestly, like, I don't know who's this.
Just to give the audience, just to let the audience know.
Yeah.
Dennis is laughing because somebody in the live chat was commenting on his teeth.
What did they say?
You didn't see that?
Nah. What does it say? Oh, I have nice teeth. Thanks, bro. I brush like, what's crazy? Twitter has toothbrushes and toothpaste like in every bathroom. So I stay brushing my teeth like in between meals. So it's a good look. It helps.
Okay. Anyways, back to that.
Yeah, back to the question.
Yeah.
Who do I think is super authentic? You know what? I would say my friend Musa again, who is like someone that's super, super authentic and super passionate about what he does. He's like a genuinely adventurous and like he'll go out and he'll explore some part of San Francisco I've never heard of before and just post the photo or document it. And like, it's in an authentic way. And it's not like, hey, I'm doing this for likes or I'm doing this because I think people will think this is cool. It comes from like a genuine place of curiosity and exploration, which is pretty tight. I would think that's really cool. Like he goes on an adventure almost every weekend, which is pretty cool. I try to join him for some, but can't always make it. But yeah, I would say he's definitely authentic and true. I would say in terms of the sneaker game, like, I don't know, man, it's kind of different. Like I can't really like gas anyone in particular that I'm like, yeah, they're super authentic, super awesome. Like I would say there's a lot of people that are part of the game that are doing it and that are doing great things for the industry and keeping it moving. But I don't personally, I don't look to anyone else like in our space. And I'm like, yo, that's like my big brother in the sneaker game. Like I don't have one.
Back to your days at Nike.
Yeah.
One of the things that's been a real hot button topic has been the battle of when Nike's been battling the bots and all that stuff. And you being like a global digital guy probably had a lot of involvement or at least heard a lot about that.
Yeah.
What was that like for you? Like, was that a big thing? Was that something that they were focused on, something that they were worried about? Or was that a non-issue while you were there?
Yeah, I mean, I can't really speak too much on that because, again, that was like there's another team that worries about that and that works on that. But, I mean, I can just tell you Nike's always committed to trying to give consumers like the best shopping experience possible. I mean, we launched the sneaker app. We launched, improvements on the website to make it better. But, yeah, it's always – I mean, I think everyone feels this way in the office that, like, we want to make sure that people that love sneakers can buy them and that, it's not robot. That's just my personal opinion. That's not robots buying shoes. I feel like it's not what it's about. Right.
So you also own Outfit Grid.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what's your plan there? So what was the thought process? When did you start it? What was the thought process there? Because the hashtag is huge.
Yeah.
Listen, I laugh a little bit because I don't do that. Yeah. I don't do that. That doesn't mean it's whack. I just don't do it, But because my outfits are trash. I'm not gonna hashtag.
Come on, you got the Pink Floyd tee, bro. You good, man.
Come on, man. I'm not gonna hashtag my fucking Macy's Levi's and my Pink Floyd tee with some beater LeBron 7s.
Hashtag NT denim, bro. Throw it.
I live the NT denim life. That's my life. But I see guys I see 40-year-old guys on Instagram with the Outfit Grid, and it's crazy popular. When I was doing the research earlier today, I think there's 300,000 posts on the Outfit Grid tag.
Yeah.
So what's your plan with Outfit Grid? What do you plan on growing that to?
I'm just the plan is to continue to grow that organically. It started in November 2012, like end of the month. I was just throwing my clothes down on the ground. And then as soon as I did that, a couple people did the same thing that I follow. They tagged me in it. And I was like, oh, I guess people like this. Like, this could be something cool. So I came up with the name Outfit Grid, laid the clothes down, because it's clothes and it's pretty self-explanatory, but it's in a grid format. So I was like, oh, how about Outfit Grid? Trademarked it, bought the website, got the handles, did all of that. And then I made it a contest. I was like, hey, how about every day we make this thing a contest? So that's what it's been. And it's been amazing, man. The community that's part of Outfit Grid is insane. It's global. There's people from literally all over the world posting, Japan, Kuwait, all over Europe. It's insane. It honestly surprises me. And people actually are doing Outfit Grid meetups now. Like there's a whole group of people, and there's like a subset of that called like the Grid Gang, and they all get together and they meet up in different cities and they hang out. Like it's been beautiful, man. And like a lot of those kids have gotten exposure through Outfit Grid, and now they have jobs, or they're consulting, or they're doing side projects because of the exposure that they got. And it's awesome, man. Like it's a super awesome community. Everyone, I mean, there's people that, yeah, there's going to be people that hate. That's how it goes, right? Or there's people that, oh, that's corny that you're throwing. Okay, cool. I don't care. Like keep it moving. Like the people that do like it, love it. And the people that don't, like, that's fine. Go do something else. Like, it doesn't bother me. Like, I have an amazing audience.
Right. And when I was going through it, I found myself indifferent. I didn't find myself hating it or loving it. I just kind of felt like my outfit is too whack to share. So that was kind of my thing. We had one comment from Derek By. When I die, I want Outfit Grid to lower me into my grave so it can let me down one more time, never letting me win.
That's real.
What's your plan for it? I mean, are you planning on monetizing it, or what do you want to do with it? What's your goal?
I mean, I've done things to monetize it. It's just been very subtle, like I've done collaborations with PacSun, with Nordstrom, with a couple different brands, like, but it's nothing like, oh, I'm picking your brand today. It's been like contests, or I've done a promoted post. Like Nordstrom was like, hey, we want you to curate an Outfit Grid and just post it on the page. And I clearly said like, hey, this is a sponsored Outfit Grid brought to you by Nordstrom. And like, yeah, that's cool. Put some money in my pocket so I could pay rent, so.
That's what it's about is figuring out a way to create something to cash it in.
Yeah, we'll see where it evolves to, like, honestly, it's just about like right now, and what it's always going to be is supporting the community and keeping it organic, keeping it authentic. And that's always going to be the core. And if other things come into play in the future, like that's cool too. But at the end of the day, it's always going to be community first.
Danny Nunez says the precision placement of where Dennis is sitting versus where the Cause doll is, where the Supreme Fives is flawless.
Yeah, of course it is, man. What do you expect? He said LOL at the art direction. This dude.
Well, that was my next question. So that was my next question. What was wrong with the star? You work for fucking Twitter.
Yeah.
What was wrong with the star? Why does it have to be a heart?
There's a whole blog entry on that on Twitter about why that happened. And I actually tweeted it. I definitely encourage everyone to read that if like you have questions, but essentially it's a change. And it's as it says here, the heart is a universal symbol that resonates across languages, cultures, and time zones. I think at the end of the day, it's just a lot easier,
I don't know. I had an initial like adverse reaction to it. It's not, and I'm not someone who hates change.
Yeah.
I just didn't like. I don't know. Like I like the star better than the heart. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that's cool. I love it. Like I think it's great personally. That's my personal opinion. You know, the company issued a statement on it. I encourage everyone to check it out. I can't really speak any further on that. You know.
Right. Do you think I don't know how much you can say here, but does Twitter feel competition from other social platforms like a Snapchat or Instagram?
Well,
do they feel like those are competitors, or do they feel like those are brothers and sisters?
So with Niche, we work with every platform. So we work with creators on every platform, Instagram, Snapchat, you name it. It's like platforms across the world. So I think that speaks for itself.
Okay. So I see you're the Supreme, you got the Supreme 5 hoodie.
Oh
the
yeah.
Supreme 5 Jordan.
Cozy. Yeah.
So are you gonna outfit grid
No.
Supreme head to toe? Is that gonna be your?
No, it's kind of weird. I'll be real with you, Drew. I wouldn't wear the hoodie with the shoes, but I would do the hoodie with the sweatpants with the shoes, if that makes sense. I would do like either the full kit or just
break it up.
Yeah. Because if you do the full kit, it's kind of like, it's cool. It looks like a suit. It's basically designed that way, right?
It is designed that way. Yeah. I always felt like when I worked for years, like when I worked at Foot Action or Finish Line for years, and we would get in shipment, we would get the shoe, then we would get the pants hook, the shirt hook, the hat, the sock.
Yeah.
And kids would come in and buy it all. And we would merchandise it head to toe that way.
Of course.
And I would scratch my head not understanding, because again, in my space, now listen, let's qualify this by saying that I am by the last person who should be the authority on anything fashion related. But I thought that was the most ridiculous thing when I would see people do that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean,
it's dope. The whole collection's so fire, man. I mean, it's a piece of history to me. Like,
are you a Supreme fan, or is it just this collection?
No, I'm a really big fan of Supreme. I've been a fan for a while, and I love what they're about and what they do and their aesthetic. And it's a mainstay in culture, and Supreme's going to be around forever. And to me, this was a very timeless collaboration, and it was legendary, man.
How crazy was it? And I don't own a single piece of Supreme. I don't hate Supreme. I think some of this stuff is dope.
Yeah.
I just don't happen on any.
Sure.
But how crazy was it when Jordan rocked the Supreme tee?
I mean, that was
like to me, that was the most iconic moment of the year in sneaker, like.
Yeah, hands down. When you look back on 2015, what is that little blip in sneaker culture on the timeline? What's the photo? It's Jordan in a Supreme tee.
It was crazy. I saw pictures of the shoes and thought the shoes were kind of corny. Like I love Jordan 5s. It's one of my favorite Jordans. I think I probably have at least a dozen different pairs of 5s. And when I seeing the first couple of pictures of the shoes, I was just like, I don't know. But when he rocked that tee, I was like, man, it's a game changer.
Dude, that was history. That was amazing. I mean, it was incredible. That moment. I mean, look at your social feed when that happened. When that happened, man, literally everyone, my whole feed was, for like probably 3 to 4 hours, like all I saw was Jordan, was a Terry Richardson Jordan photo. And, I wasn't even sick of it by the 100th time. I was like, wow, this is still amazing to me. Like, it's incredible.
It's crazy. I was thinking, I love, like, I like thinking about those things and like where people stand in history, and it got me thinking when he did that, and then a couple weeks later, Complex put out the top 25 most influential people in sneakers, and it got me thinking about the all-time list, right? Because that list was right now, and then the all-time list, and Tinker and Jordan are 1 and 2, however you want to put them, 1 and 2, right? And to me, they're the only two people that are forever on any list. They can be, the plane can go down tomorrow and they're on any list. They're the most iconic, influential people in sneakers forever.
Hands down.
Forever. And then I started thinking, well, shit, who would be number 3? And it's a huge drop off, right? I'll give you a Boston one. As much as this is going to hurt my soul, it's like Tom Brady and everybody else right now. There's an enormous drop off.
Yo, Drew, you never lied, bro. It's Tom Brady.
And it hurts my soul deep down as a Jet fan to say that. But
there's truth to it.
There's truth to it, and it's Tinker and Jordan, and then who else?
Yeah.
And the next one, it's got to be Kanye West. I think. And I think he's the next one to be immortalized as a sneaker influencer. And I'm a fan of Kanye's music. I'm not a super fan by any means. I like some of his stuff. I don't like some of his stuff. I'm never going to have a Yeezy. I'm never going to have Yeezy season anything. It's just not for me. But the guy, everybody, you talk about taking over a timeline. He's been doing it for years now.
He definitely shifted the culture, for sure. I'm a big Kanye fan. I'm a huge fan of Kanye's music. I've been that way since Through the Wire, and still to this day, I can't wait for his next album. It's going to be fire.
Do you think he's on that list as forever, like immortalized as a sneaker influencer?
He's on the list. I don't know if he's number 3 though. That's kind of high to put him there, especially after, when you consider Jordan number 2, like that's.
But acknowledging the gap.
Yeah, acknowledging the gap. I would still put probably a designer on there. I would probably put like Bruce Kilgore, who designed the Air Force One.
But are people buying the Air Force One because of him? He doesn't have the cachet that Tinker has.
Yeah, I mean, Tinker's a legend. I mean,
see, I don't think the designers.
So is Mark Smith. So is Nate Van Hook is a young legend. Like there's a lot of designers right now who are killing it, who are amazing designers.
I agree with that. I just don't think the designer sells shoes.
It depends how you're defining influencer and how you're putting it through the scope. If you're talking about exposure and if you're talking about creating a trend, then yeah, I would say Kanye is definitely high on the list. I don't know if he's number 3, but he may be. I mean, I would have to do like some serious analysis on that, but my gut feeling is like, we know that there's results when Kanye wears something. Like, I think you could say like the Independence Day pack, like those Air Max ones, like those sat on the shelves, man. Nobody cared about those. And then the Hyperfuse, you remember those, right? Mm-hmm. All red, all white, all blue. And then he gets in a fight with the paparazzi or he wears them. Like this was like way after the 4th of July. And then all of a sudden now they're 600-700. I don't even know what they are on eBay right now. But yeah, he 100% has influence. That's undeniable. I don't think anyone's going to say Kanye doesn't have influence. I just don't know if like putting him after Jordan. I mean, that's super high, but yeah, I mean, I love Kanye. I think he's brilliant.
So before we get off, I want to talk a little New York, Boston with you.
Talk to me.
So you live in San Francisco. Are you when do you begin to disown Boston? When do you begin to transition and alleviate yourself of the trashness?
When I die.
Are you a Patriots, Red Sox?
Everything. Bruins.
Ugh.
My uncle's assistant coach of the Bruins. Like, I'm a huge Bruins fan. Like, huge Red Sox fan. Huge Celtics fan. Like, if you cut me, man, my blood's like navy blue and red, green, gold and black. It depends what what time of the day you cut it. But yeah, it changes colors.
How do you feel about the Pats this year?
Dude, they're killing it.
They are, but do you feel the team is as good as in past years?
Yeah, 100%. I think the Pats are super on pace to have an amazing year. I get nervous as a fan with the pressure of being 19-0 because we know what happened last time. It's a lot. It's a lot of, that was probably one of the worst moments, but it's a lot of pressure, and it's insane. Like, you're gonna have the undefeated season. Like, it's a lot of pressure. Like, I would actually feel better if like the Pats just took a L real quick and then went like into the playoffs. Like, yeah, no pressure. It's all good. It's like that little dent on your new car,
Who's the team in the AFC that scares you the most?
There isn't one.
Oh,
I'm a Pats fan, man.
So there's not one team that scares you. There's not one team that you're like, we got to take them seriously. We got to watch out for them.
Maybe if Brady's sitting. There's no one right now. Honestly, there's no one seeing the Patriots. The Patriots even play down to the teams they're playing.
Oh my God.
They take it easy, man. It's like when you're winning a race and like, the person next to you is so slow and you're just like, oh, I guess I don't need to run my hardest because I'm going to win this race anyway, so I can just chill a little bit. The Pats really play down to teams at this point. Like, they're that good.
Will you admit that Boston might be the most overrated like food city, culture city in the country?
Never.
That it's a big time bandwagon cultural city, like everything is bandwagon. Like even in sneakers, like Boston, having worked up there and been around, like Boston was one of the worst selling Jordan shoes until they became a fad recently. Like Boston stores were trash when it comes to like moving the hot items that would just kill in Brooklyn or in, urban parts of Connecticut or in the city.
Sneaker culture, it's shifted, man. The stores that are in Boston are amazing right now. Like Concepts, the whole crew over there is killing it.
Mm-hmm.
Mega, that whole team is killing it. Those are all my friends. Like they've been putting on for the city for a long time.
Concepts is, listen, I there's nothing bad I could say about Concepts other than we tried to do a show there and it was the worst internet connection I've ever seen in life. Other than that, but the guys are great and everybody was great. Like, and the store is dope. I can't say nothing bad about Concepts.
You guys are my brothers over there.
But you think like the Boston, you don't think of Boston, you don't, honestly, come on. It's not like a little bit of a front runner bandwagon kind of city.
No way.
Get out of here, man.
Bro, my whole life.
You guys turn on your teams faster than anybody I ever seen.
No, that's not true.
It is.
We'll talk all the smack we want. We'll say whatever. But at the end of the day, we're the most dedicated and loyal fans in the country. When the Red Sox were losing. Look, that year when Boone hit that grand slam or whatever, and we blew the game, I had season tickets that year. I had World Series tickets. I was with my dad. Well, technically my dad had them, but it was a full sheet. You ever get season tickets? You know how it's like it's like just that full sheet, not even just the perforated edges. That's the most.
I've had Jet season tickets for 10 years.
Is that not the most beautiful thing? Looking at the postseason tickets in there,
it breaks your heart to. Well, I wouldn't. I'm a Jet fan. I wouldn't know about postseason tickets.
Yeah, that's true. Sorry, man. But
I will tell you the highlight of my football life, and this is a little sad, but it's real, was really beating the Patriots in Foxborough in the playoffs that year. And I remember you and your brethren turning on that team so bad. You turned on the Patriots so bad. You guys hated them. I've never seen fans hate their own team so much, and I hate my team more than anybody.
We hate our teams with love, though. It's called tough love. Like, man, being like really until I was in high school, Boston was pretty much a struggle city for sports. I mean, apart from like the 70s with the Celtics and other scenarios, like Bruins had some wins in the 70s, but Patriots struggle. Red Sox, 1918.
Yep.
Like I grew up with the idea that, hey, Dan, you're gonna live until you're 100 years old and never see the Red Sox win, but they're the best team in the world. And like that was life. That was the life I knew until I was, I don't know, however old, 15 when 16 when we finally won. I mean, that was my life, and I was a big Red Sox fan, and I still am, and I'm a huge Red Sox fan. But that was the expectation. It was like, yo, the Red Sox are gonna break your heart. Like it's just how it goes. Like it was almost like we didn't know what to do. Like it was like, what do I do with my hands when the Red Sox finally won? We were like, we're supposed to like, cut ourselves. Not say that, but like that's what we were used to. We're kind of masochists in a way. No play on words, but
Is the food in San Fran so much better than Boston, though? Isn't it?
Boston has some spots, man.
It has some good. It does have some good spots, but generally overrated, I would say. But San Francisco, listen, San Francisco is fire when it comes to grub.
San Fran or I shouldn't say San Fran. That's frowned upon. San Francisco, Bay Area, fire. The spots are amazing, man. The food out here is great, and I think one of the reasons why is like the amount of like diversity in the city.
Totally. You
have every kind of food. Like I think I had some bomb Ethiopian food the other day. Like that, you don't get that necessarily in Boston. Like there's a little bit of everything here, which is awesome. But I will tell you, Boston, hands down, best Italian food in the whole world.
Get the fuck out of here. There's no way. There's no way. Dennis, there's no way.
Easily.
There's no way. There's no way.
Easily.
There's no way. There's no way. There's no way.
Easily.
There's no way. There is absolutely no way.
All right, man.
I refuse to.
I'll take you. Next time we'll go to the North End. We'll get,
I've been to the North End, and we'll go. I'm down. Listen, I'm down. I'll eat anything, anywhere.
All right.
But I'll say the seafood in Boston is good. I think the Italian food is overrated.
Wow.
I mean, listen, I'm from New York. I mean, I grew up in Brooklyn. Like, I go to Arthur Avenue in the Bronx. I'm going to go to Dominic's for lunch tomorrow. And, you know what I mean? The steak pizza, forget about it. But I think San Fran, like, of all the places I've ever been, if there was one place I could live other than New York, it would be San Francisco. And I think that's a dope opportunity culturally for you, man.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I'm hyped to be here. It's a beautiful city. It's an amazing city. Couldn't be happier to be here.
All right. Well, listen, I appreciate an hour of your time. I thought it was good stuff. I do want to acknowledge the placement in the background. Strategically, it was that's definitely flawless.
That's just like, that's how, it's just the new shelf I built. I like it.
Well, listen, man, I appreciate an hour of your time. Next week we're gonna have Premium Pete.
Oh, that's the homie.
We're gonna have Premium Pete on the show.
He's a really good guy.
Yeah, he's a great guy. We'll talk about a lot of stuff. We'll talk a little bit about, we'll debate a little bit about the sneaker culture. We'll talk about food, obviously, maybe some dad shit, because he's the poster boy for parenting.
Yeah.
So we'll do that next week. Dennis, thank you. I didn't mention at the start of the show, but anybody who wants to check out, they have some dope hoodies on cousinsbrand.com. Please go check them out and use code to sit down at checkout and you get a discount. And that's it, man. We're out. Dennis, thank you very much. Good luck with Niche and Outfit Grid and your projects.
Thanks, man.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks, bro.